You know, I went to Wikipedia and looked up the definition of the word. It's an English language profanity that often refers to the act of sexual intercourse, but is also commonly used as an intensifier or to convey disdain. I suggest, as I Googled and went through pages and pages of times it's been used, let's start with U.S. President Lyndon Johnson said that the Greek ambassador, when he objected to American plans in Cyprus, your parliament and your constitution. Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau mouthed the words off at a conservative MP, John Lundgren. In 2024, Vice President Dick Cheney told Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy, go yourself. In 2007, U.S. Senator John Cornyn objected to John McCain's perceived intrusion upon a Senate meeting. McCain replied, you. Governor Rod Burwinkel of Illinois referred to Obama as and repeatedly said him. Vice President Joe Biden whispered into President Barack Obama's ear, this is a big deal. Robert De Niro sparked controversy during the Tony Awards. He started with the sentence, I'm going to say one thing, Trump. He clenched his two fists in the air and ended remarks by saying it's no longer down with Trump, Trump. He received a standing ovation from the audience, which is mostly celebrities. Senator Tom Carpenter shouted at a meeting in 2020. In 2020, on the Rush Limbaugh show, President Donald Trump stated in a threat to Iran, if you with us, if you do something bad to us, we're going to do things to you that you've never been done before. In 2022, Joe Biden said to the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, no one Biden.
Mr. Burwinkel, I think we get the point. Can we move forward?
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't done.
I understand that, but
in a case earlier this year, an issue with a bystander, that was a case when I first started here, an issue with a standby at an incident playing his car stereo excessively loud mentioned the rap group NWA. Having never heard of them, I did some research. NWA is a big rap group, and NWA stands for with an attitude. And the standby was playing their #1 song, Police. Based on all the prominent officials I mentioned, the success of the song, the police, it appears the word is commonly acceptable in our society. Wikipedia states the word is used as an intensifier, and based on the cases I've heard during my short time on the authority, the officers use the word in that context. I suggest unless an officer uses the word as a noun, this whole disrespect thing is outdated, overblown, and a moot point. I suggest we move on and focus on our mission, which includes CCA examination of patterns to identify opportunities for CBD in the community to prevent complaints. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
thank you.
just for
Hold on, Ms. Rowley, can I address? I want to address it too. Let me address it first. I don't think anyone wants to be cussed at by anyone, whether it's your friend, your parents, or the police, especially the police. And I think one of the disconnects is a worldview. And Europeans have a world, when I say Europeans, I mean white folks. They tend to have a worldview that values individualism, independence, and autonomy. And that is rewarded in this society. And when you have those values, you have to do things like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, because that's what the culture values, independence. And when you live in a world like that, you have to have thick skin. You have to be less sensitive to certain things. And what I'm saying in this regard is that because you have to be less sensitive, you are less sensitive. So for a lot of Europeans, those things don't mean anything because you live in a society that tells you you have to do everything by yourself. And in order to do things by yourself, you have to have a thick skin. We come from an African, black folks, or most people of color come from a worldview that values harmony, interdependence, collectivism, care for each other. And so when those words are hurled at certain people like us, we feel them more than Europeans because we don't come from a culture where we have to have this thick skin. In our culture, it says it takes a village to raise a child. In our culture, it says, I am because we are. In European culture, you say, I think, therefore I am. It's all about the I. And because it's all about the I, you have to be, like I said, so independent, so strong. People tell you, if someone cusses at you, just let it roll off. You know, it's no big deal. Because you're less sensitive, because you have to be less sensitive, because if you were more sensitive in this culture, you would just fold. And I don't know if you get what I'm saying or get the picture, but maybe that's why for some people, being cursed at is you're more sensitive to it than other folks. Ms. Rowley.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that education. I wanted to talk about the discourteousness because that's a direct derivative from the collaborative agreement. Because black folk in this city could not prove discrimination in all cases, but yet there was some ambiguity between discourteousness and racism and discrimination, we added discourteousness for these times. So thank you for lifting that up. However, while on a job, as a taxpayer, what we actually would love to have are standards that we can follow and hold people accountable. So my recommendation to look at other municipalities, not in other states, but within our midst, our geographical area, to see what they are doing. I do not want to be cussed at by the people I pay to protect and serve me, frustrated or not. I don't expect to come into City Hall and the guards cuss at me. I don't believe that I deserve that. And with all that we put into officer wellness and ensuring that they have everything that they need to do their jobs in a way that is acceptable to the people that they are paid to protect and serve. Mr. Chair, once again, I'm going to ask that there is a recommendation to review municipalities in our area so we can finally lay this to rest and to create policies to hold police and citizens accountable. Thank you.